Welcome to Doug and Nat's Caravan Adventures, Episode 3. Episode 1, I showed you how I installed a portable solar panel to our Jayco caravan. Episode 2, we took the caravan up to Yardie Creek, which is near Exmouth in Western Australia, and established how long we could live off the grid for. And this episode, Episode 3, I'm going to run through a few things you need to consider before you leave the house for a period of 4 or 5 months, which is what we're going to do when we head across to the east coast. So the first thing you need to consider is who is going to look after the yard and who is going to cut the lawn. It's a job that I do every week, and if the house is empty, who will do it? The next thing I considered was who's going to clean the pool, or more importantly, make sure the pump continues to run and the pool doesn't go green. And then I thought, okay, now we have a garden which is watered by a bore. Who is going to make sure the bore keeps running 3 times a week on our watering days and waters the garden? So there's a whole host of things to consider. And then it occurred to me, the obvious thing to do, and the safest and wisest, is to get a house sitter. No, not that sort of a house sitter. Someone to stay in the house while you're away. So something else to consider, and I failed to mention in my introduction, was the junk mail and the mail. Who is going to collect that? And again, we'll do the house sitter, because you don't want junk mail clogging up your letterbox. It makes the house look empty. So the house sitter will handle that. Alternatively, you have your mail redirected or held at the post office, whichever suits you. So before we leave, make sure you renew your memberships to Top Tourist and Big 4. A small fee for a year's subscription, and it saves you 10% at each stay. So within a matter of a couple of weeks away at caravan parks, you've made your money back and then you're in front. If you're on medication, don't forget to get your 4 or 5 months worth of prescriptions before you go. It's difficult to go to a strange doctor and get a prescription if you have an ongoing requirement. So do that before you go. We'll be heading east. Our plan is to travel from Perth to Ceduna, a distance of 1,920 k's. Once we get to Ceduna, we're going to follow the coast around. Perth to Norseman is around 750 k's. Norseman to Ceduna is around 1,200 k's. We can get supplies at Norseman, and then you're pretty much on your own until you get to Ceduna, a distance of 1,200 k's. We are travelling with a caravan, so we'll be taking it very easy, so that might take us 3, 4, 5 days, depending how we go, depending how much looking around we do. We know that water's not an issue, we know that power's not an issue, and food is not a problem. Something to consider though is, can you charge your phone? Can you charge your camera? They all have USBs, so that's not too much of a problem. I discovered my DJI Mavic drone doesn't have a USB charger. I had to buy a 12 volt charger specifically for the drone, so I've got that covered. Some of my cameras I can't charge with 12 volt, but I do have an inverter, so while I'm travelling I can top up some of my cameras. Something else to consider is mobile phone is limited across Nullarbor. Usually around the roadhouses you have access to NextG, but it's off and on. So you can't rely on it, but it's very good, mostly covered. As far as overnight stops go across the Nullarbor, in Western Australia there are places where you can stop overnight every 50, 100 k's. In fact, I've been out to Eucla several times, and I have obtained a waypoint for each of the stops and plotted them on my map. So you can see them here. There's well and truly plenty of places to stop in Western Australia, and I'm hoping once I cross the border into South Australia, it'll be a similar arrangement. I'm unable to say at this stage, but I shall let you know. I'll be carrying 2 diesel fuel cans, extra diesel, because I don't get very good mileage when I'm towing the caravan, and I have had situations where I've got to a roadhouse and they have been empty, or they're expecting the fuel truck in and they will only sell you a limited amount. So for that reason I carry at least two jerry cans with diesel, and I'll also carry 2 jerry cans with water to top up the caravan as required. I was up north not long ago and I got a flat tyre. That's not a problem. I carry 2 spares and I had 2 wheel braces. But the last time the wheels were put on the car, they used a rattle gun and it was tensioned up way too much and I couldn't get all the studs off. I managed to get 5 of the 6, but I couldn't get the 6th one off. I even had a length of pipe that I put onto my wheel brace and used it as leverage, but all I did was successfully damage the stud and I couldn't get it off, and I was stuck there all night until the next morning when someone came and assisted me. So now I like to carry a breaker bar, and because the bar is nice and long, 500 mil long, you get that extra leverage and it makes it so much easier to tackle tight studs. Luckily for me, the socket fits both my car, the Nissan, and the caravan. And the extra leverage makes it even easier for ladies to change the wheels should it be necessary. Because my temporary solar panel will sit in front of the caravan, I wanted to have some sort of security cable just to anchor the panel, just so it didn't go walkabout. So I checked out several options and ended up going to Bunnings and buying some stainless steel cable, 3mm diameter, and a packet of these, which is a piece of, like a bit of pipe, and you put the stainless steel cable through and back and then use a crimper and crimp it so you have a nice solid loop on the end of your cable. Now the crimper was $45 and I wasn't prepared to spend $45, so I discovered that using a cold chisel and a hammer I was able to tap it until it crimped up and produced my nice cable. The stainless steel cable comes in 10-metre lengths, so I was able to make myself a 2-metre, a 3-metre and a 5-metre security cable for a total of $11. So that was money well spent. So we're only 4 weeks out from leaving. A lot of preparation is required. We've been thinking about it and planning this for years, and I'm getting excited because we're getting close to going. We've had the van for a long time and we're just about there.